Hello, welcome to Topics with Tim. This is part 2 of my interview with Kyle Woods. We'll get right into it. Enjoy.
Yeah, I bought that and I only use it for certain instances. I don't use it all the time. But like it's mostly used in like country music, like a slide like that. That's what it's used on. Like slide guitar or whatever. But uh like essentially, yeah, it's like you kind of like I kind of just decide like, okay, in this instance, like what do I want to learn today? What do I want to try and figure out today? And I just kind of let my mind go with that and I kind of try to figure it out and throw mud at the wall and see what sticks, essentially. And then I just keep working at it. But essentially, the hardest thing would be just basically, as honestly, just playing solos, playing leads. Because essentially, I have an issue with a lot of guitar players today, and that sounds really bad. But everybody is learning the technical aspect of how to play guitar, but nobody is giving their guitar a distinct characteristic that is different from everybody else. And what I mean by that is like you can't tell him from him.
Oh, so they're playing like the exact same part in the exact same way.
In this exact because they're professionally trained. And I don't have an issue with being a professionally trained guitar player if you have a style that I can recognize. Because there's guys that I listen to where they're a million times better than what I ever would want to be, and I hope I possibly could be someday. But at this point, they're on a completely other level. I'm like, I can't play that now. If you tried to teach me how to play that, that would take me a year, like something like that. But I mean, but I can tell what their style is. When I hear it, I'm like, I know who this is. Then there's these other guys where they record videos of them doing these things really, really fast, or these different kind of picking styles, and I'm like, you sound just like every other person that has been professionally trained. There is nothing distinct or new or interesting about anything that you're playing because you have no style, you have no character. There's nothing unique about it. And I'd say for me, it was kind of the same because it was like, and that's kind of the reason why I also didn't want lessons, because I also felt like it would make me a robot. I would be just another guy that could do all the things that all these other super fancy guitar player guys can do. I'd rather be unique and still know how to do some of those things, but still be unique and not use it 24/7.
I can see how that would be really challenging because when I think about, let's think about voices and people singing, right? Like,
yeah.
People can sing the same note, but sound completely different because it's so crazy. Everyone's mouth is like a different shape, or their teeth are a different way, and so it distorts the sound in a way where like I said, you're singing the same note, but everyone has a very unique sound for the most part. As a guitar being like not like being just this device that kind of is made in probably like a professional mechanical way where it's like, hey, you make this string the same, you make this string the same.
Yeah.
How are you able to be unique when the instrument itself is sort of designed to be like, sort of sound like every other guitar?
Honestly, it comes from what your amp is too, and like what your settings kind of are at. Like my amp settings are kind of on both of my amps, which I shout out to Fender and shout out to Orange amps because those are the amps I probably use till the day I die.
Get some sponsors up in here, eh? Hey,
yeah,
I'll get some.
Hey, I'll take a sponsorship from either one of them. I mean, like they're incredible. But I recently bought an Orange about a year or so ago, and that's like the best amp I've ever owned. And I had a Fender for like over 15 years, and I still love that amp. Like Fender's amazing. It just depends on what kind of style I'm interested in playing today. Because I have pretty much both of the amps have the same exact settings, but they both sound completely different. So in all of my guitars, everybody just thinks, well, you just have a different looking shape guitar. To most people, they're just like, okay, well, this guitar is,
Does that change the sound?
It does. Each guitar has its own sound. So it depends on what kind of sound you want. So like I play a Fender Stratocaster, which is more known as kind of like your classic rock blues kind of a guitar. And I love that sound. And I've been raised on that sound, and I think that sound is kind of the cat's pajamas for me. And then I bought a Gretsch, which is a little bit more clean. It's a little bit more higher, like in the pitches, and like a little bit more twangy. It just has there's just a different, distinct characteristic behind the two. So,
have have they tightened up the strings more? Like how do you
Usually it just depends on what kind of guitar it is, because it's usually the action of the strings, so like how low the strings are sitting above the frets, or it's the pickups or the shape of the guitar, or it's a number of things, the way that it's made, the way that it's manufactured. There's so much that goes into the different sounds of guitars. Most people just go, every guitar sounds the same. That's not true. So it's not even close. So, and that's why each one of my guitars is literally meant for a specific purpose. I don't just buy guitars just to say I have guitars. Nobody really does, for the most part. You know, Ethan's got 3 different basses. 3. Each one of his basses he literally uses for a completely different purpose, because this one plays better for this music, and this one plays better for this music, or this one has this sound and it fits good with this style. Like, he has them for a reason. It's like, and it's the same with just trying to find your sound when you're playing leads. When you're playing lead, you want to have a sound where people notice you right off the bat. They're like, I already know who this is, and I want to hear it. That's the sound that you want. And I can't say that I have that sound, because I'm really not that famous. But I hope that... Do I hope that maybe eventually that'll come about someday? Yeah, of course I do. I think every musician does, you know? And that's kind of where it stems from. It's about it's like you're creating your own identity through your music. But if you're going to play like a robot, everybody's just going to think you're a robot. There's nothing new, there's nothing different about you.
Okay, so take me back to you'd finished high school, you drifted apart from Ethan, you've been playing a lot on your own.
Yeah.
What was happening then? Were you still playing?
I was playing and writing a lot. This is actually when I first moved out on my own. I moved in with our buddy Eric Upton right before he got married. I love that guy. Yeah, he's a great roommate, really nice guy. And now he's got a pile of kids and a happy wife. I'm pretty sure he's doing fantastic. He always seems...
He played for our flag football team for a little bit.
He did. He played for a season. Yeah, nice guy. I lived with him, and I did a lot of... Because I would drive home from work, and literally I'd just go in my room and just go to town. Play, and just focus on writing and writing lyrics. More along the lines of writing lyrics. Focusing on the writing of...
So
aspect.
Writing for you, describe it for me. You're in your room, you're sitting on your bed, you got a pencil and a notepad, and you're just whatever comes to mind, or are you trying to listen to music to kind of give you inspiration?
Most of the time, I think it's with, like, most musicians, it's think about what does this song make you think about when you're playing it? What does this song mean to you? What do you hear? And that's kind of where it stems off. Sometimes it has been the opposite way around, where I've actually written the lyrics first, and I'm like, I don't have any music to put to this, and then eventually somewhere later down the road, I'll find a song, and I'll be like, I know what lyrics will fit perfect for this. And I've matched the two, and it's worked. You know? But, I mean, that's kind of how it would be. And I'm going to be a bit broad here, but drinking while playing. I swear, it helps. It really does. And I'm not encouraging get plastered every day when you're practicing guitar. I'm not encouraging that, because there's days when it's good for you to just not do that, obviously.
Yeah. It can take a toll in other ways.
Oh, yeah, you know, and not only that, it's kind of one of those things where it kind of like loosens you up every once in a while. It's just kind of like, I'm thinking too hard about this.
Takes away that frontal lobe. Our frontal lobe is known for being that center of logic and reason and kind of moral, like, should I be doing this, should I not? So there's a lot of analyzing that goes on the frontal lobe, and when you kind of get drunk, it kind of shuts that frontal lobe down a little bit. Yeah. Which, you know, tends to be why people tend to make a lot of bad decisions while they're drunk, because they no longer have that process going like, hey, maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe I shouldn't call that person, right? Those no longer. But in some ways, it can be used as a tool for music, because you're not as judgmental about your music, right? You're
essentially, yeah, it's like what Ernest Hemingway said. It's like write drunk and edit sober. Essentially, that's what he did. And I'm not saying like, so go home and write a book, but just do it wasted.
Some kid's gonna be like, well, Mom, I mean, Kyle Woods told me that to get drunk while I'm trying to learn my music.
No one heard she be like, you're not listening to Topics with Tim anymore. But I mean, like, that has helped in that sense sometimes.
Has there been anything else that you've done that has given you that same feeling of kind of more freedom of thought and less? Not, that hasn't involved drinking. Like maybe
no, yeah, taking a drive.
Really good day.
Yeah.
Okay, here you go. Tell me about that.
Taking a drive, definitely.
So here's some alternatives for you people who maybe don't want to.
No, I mean, like, and some people, honestly, some people are, and I'll say this, some people are just naturally good riders and don't need any of that.
It just comes.
Because it just comes to them. But sometimes, it just comes to me, and some days it doesn't. So when it doesn't, even if sometimes alcohol doesn't even help. Sometimes it's just like you're dead, like you're on writer's block. But. Sometimes I wasn't even thinking about writing a song, but I'd just take a drive. And I just kind of like clear my mind a little bit, let it take away kind of the stress of my day, listen to music that I needed to listen to or wanted to.
So you sort of you get in just kind of a relaxed space, it sounds like.
Yeah, it's kind of like, because I'm not worried about anybody next to me. I'm not worried about anything at this moment. And it helped. It helped a lot. So, yeah. I mean, and then sometimes I would just like, be like, oh my gosh, I just thought of something. You know?
It just comes out of the blue.
Boom. Yeah, and I'm like, and then as soon as I got home, first thing I did was start playing it or start writing it down. And then sometimes I wouldn't add anything to that for a while. Like, there was one part that was so good. And it was one part of one song. It was just guitar. And Ethan, I was like, Ethan came down from, Ethan was in the Marine Corps for 6 years. So, he came up. He came up to SAC from San Diego. He's like, you want to jam when I come back? And I said, yeah, of course. You know, so.
How old are you at this point?
We were about 20. I think it was 24 when this thing happened. Okay. But essentially, I was like, I can't find anything to put to this. I was like, I've had this for like a year. He's like, okay.
This is the lyrics that you have?
This is the music.
You have the music.
This is just one riff and I have nothing else. And I'm like, I can't expand off of this and I don't know why. And he's like, well, let me hear it. Instantly, he came up with everything. Like, literally, he just started playing with that part and was like, I got it. And I was like, no, you don't. He's like, yes, I do.
Shut up. You know,
he did. And he had it. And that became one of our songs that our band recently has played all the time. It's our best song. By far our best one. You know, so it was like all I had to do was just share it a little bit and see what happened.
Just needed that other human to kind of, who maybe thinks a little differently, to just kind of connect with, and them to kind of like, in a way, I think maybe it's almost destiny sometimes, where like you were given a piece to something that you needed someone else to like unlock, or they had the other piece to it, right? And
right.
When you connected, then you put the pieces together, you get a beautiful product. I feel like God does that sometimes, where you get a piece.
I would agree.
He gives someone else a piece, and he's like, I got you guys.
You'll figure it out.
Solve the puzzle together. You know.
Yeah.
You gotta be. You know. So that's cool. That's
but
a
really
cool story.
Well, I mean, and even to backtrack a little bit, because I was saying like Ethan moved to LA and I was just doing nothing, like you were just talking about. Mm-hmm. So he moved back, and so we were like, he's like, so I'm joining the Marines, and I was like, I'm sorry. He's like, oh, I'm joining the Marine Corps. I was like, well, I was just kind of like shocked because I was like, I never thought I'd hear those words come out of his mouth. Because he was, no offense, Ethan, but yeah, he was a troublemaker. Like, he was always getting in trouble. I was like, there's no way this is happening. He's joking. He's like, no, I'm not joking. I'm going in. And I was like, well, good for you, man. Like, that's great, you know, because I really didn't believe him at first. So he's like, but I don't have to go in for about a year and a half. So. Or I won't be going in for about a year and a half. So he came back and we spent about a year and a half just working on music stuff. And it was great.
Did you play any gigs during that time?
We played 3 shows.
Where?
2 of them were at Club Retro, which no longer exists. One of them was at this little alleyway club place that was just a dump. It was so bad. And the show we played was terrible. Like, we had a really bad night that night.
Just off. Music was off.
Just everything was just kind of off that night. Mm-hmm. It just wasn't. Our set list wasn't good and well thought out, or I don't know. It just wasn't good.
What? Yeah. What? Tell me, when you're playing a gig, what's the difference? Because I've heard you describe sometimes like, because to me it kind of I don't necessarily notice always. I mean, there's sometimes I'm like, I definitely thought maybe that was a better show because maybe you had more energy, but for the most part, like, someone who's not maybe in it like you are, I don't. It's all sounds kind of similar, and you'll be like, oh, we had a horrible show, and I'll be like, what? What are you talking about? Like, I had a good time. Like, I thought you sounded great. Like, what do you mean you had a horrible show? What are you talking about?
It's because you get really picky about your craft, so you're like much harder on yourself more times than other people are, and I'm that way. I'm like, I screwed up on the third bar of the second chorus or whatever, and like half the time nobody cared or noticed or whatever, and you're like, well, I noticed, but it doesn't.
It's a good thing, right? If no one notices, like,
if no one notices, it's honestly better than everybody noticing or you making it seem very blatant that you made a mistake.
How many mistakes will you make on average during the show?
Me? Mm-hmm. If it's like, yeah, so every show's kind of about the same. So within like 30 minutes, 5 or 6.
5 or 6, and that's just
usually
missing a chord,
missing a note, not singing a note right, whatever. I mean, it could be a number of things, or I don't know. It's just on average, I would say 6. One show I had, I was making mistakes left and right, and I was sober the whole time. I just did not have a good show. Like, I don't remember how many mistakes I made, and it's probably a good thing, but sometimes you just do, and you just kind of have to let it fly. And that's why I don't really buy into the whole like auto-tune thing with music when people auto-tune things, because I'm like, you are faking everything right now.
Yeah,
there's nothing authentic.
You don't hear the
about
mistakes, right?
And then you hear
because there is like an authenticity. You're right. When you hear music, and sometimes like as a singer, I try to be like, because I'll watch my videos of me singing, and I'll be like, like I'll hear maybe a note where maybe I didn't have enough air, and so maybe it sort of it was a little more not as full or something like that, and I'll critique and be like, like dang it, didn't sound good there. But then when someone else hears it, those kind of imperfections actually is what makes it sound cool, right? It's like, oh wow, those like you'll see some artists today who will sing really odd styles or be really breathy, and people will love it because it's like a unique style and because for whatever it works for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I try to remember that too, not to be I sing, okay, maybe that note wasn't as full as I liked it to be, but hey, that was an imperfection, but that's okay because in the grand scheme, like for the most part, I sound good, and like that's what makes it authentic. That's what makes it, like I said, auto-tune just kind of removes that to where you're kind of just hearing the same thing over and over,
right? And
it's all sort of perfect in a way, but then it's not authentic.
It's like the same as being a studio musician. You're gonna get multiple cracks at it being perfect. So when you're playing it live, it is different. And I think that people think that it's really, I think for the most part, most people just think that that's really easy. And it's not. It's really not. It's extremely difficult trying to be on time, not mess up, make sure you remember all of your lines, make sure you use the right effect in the right spot. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going through your head at once while you're doing something. Like, at least that's how it is for me. But the thing is I like being nervous and I like being focused, because before every show I feel like I'm gonna throw up, but I don't. I've never thrown up before a show.
Vomit 3 since '93, right?
I wish I could say that. So, but I get nervous to the point where I literally feel like I'm gonna barf my brains out, and it's a terrible feeling. But it means I'm nervous enough to the point where I feel like I'm gonna be focused enough to put on a good enough show today.
Means you care. Right?
Yeah,
it's a good thing.
I feel like if you're not nervous, you've done it so many times to the point where it's like it's nothing anymore. I feel like, but I mean, I've even seen famous musicians say they still get nervous and they still, they have issues with that. So I'm like, yeah, I get that way sometimes. If I'm not nervous before a show, I get worried. I'm like, why am I not nervous tonight?
You don't enjoy it and be like, oh, I'm feeling good.
No, I never. I actually, I stress myself out to the point where I'm not nervous. I'm just stressed. So now I'm like,
so you're stressed about
not being nervous.
I love that, right? You're
it's
worried
like
about. I'm not nervous right now. Oh my god, now you're nervous.
Yeah, like I'm stressed. I'm like, oh god, like why am I stressed? And it's because I'm not nervous. And because I feel like when I'm nervous, I'm not stressed. I'm more calm when I'm nervous.
Yeah. There's some good studies out there done on sort of, you take a human and you don't put any pressure on them at all, like there's no pressure at all,
right?
Their performance will decline, right? Because maybe you're just like, I don't need to like if you're playing a sport, I don't need to go for that extra pass. I don't because there's no pressure, right? And then if you go on that spectrum, but you go too far the other way, or there's too much pressure, you'll also see a performance dip because there's just so much pressure to where your brain just doesn't have the room to think through a lot of options, and you just think quickly and rashly, and you make more mistakes that way. And so there's like this perfect balance of enough pressure to where you're not just like, oh, it doesn't matter, I can just screw around, but not so much to where it's like, okay, now it's like a perfect amount of pressure for a musician, a player, an athlete, anybody, and you want to be right at that level. You're focused, you're intense, there's pressure on it, but you know that you can handle it,
right?
And it doesn't go too far to where, because literally, like, they've done studies where the more stressed you are, the more nervous, like that pressure kind of goes up. Your brain, the amount of options your brain has of connections diminishes.
Really?
So there's a reason why when someone's really stressed, why they typically don't maybe make good decisions, or why, because their brain, honestly, because of the state that the mind they're in, chemically their brain has to shorten everything. It has to, so it reduces the number of choices, it reduces the number of decisions down to where now you only have maybe 3 options in this stress state of what you could do. If you were in a more relaxed state, you might have 10 options because your brain just has this sort of openness to it. And so, I'm sorry, I got off in this little tangent.
No.
I like talking about that stuff.
I actually did not know about that.
So it's fascinating. That's why, they always tell you, if you're going to make a big decision, especially, you want to be in like a calm state. You want to sleep on it, because then your brain will have more options available to you to go, and you won't make a bad decision because your brain is going, I have to just remove everything and just give you like 2 decisions because we're in this stressed, heightened state. We can't.
That's so interesting.
So it's always good to be.
That's crazy.
Calm, but obviously not too calm to where
I'm
there's
like,
not a little bit of something.
Like I don't have any. I don't feel any pressure here. Why not? And like, that's a weird feeling for me. I'm like, am I gonna do okay tonight? Like it's weird, but I do like being I do like being nervous because I have a better feeling about the show. I always do. I always have been that way. But yeah, like right now, like as far as music goes, I'm not really concerned about fame and fortune and kind of like making a ton of money. And it's not because the coronavirus thing is going on. It's just because real life kind of hits you, man. Like, you don't have time for stuff like this anymore. You got priorities. You have work. You have things you want to take care of at home. And you have people you want to see sometimes. And I think some people are just bred to just do it like all the time. I am just not at the moment. Like I love learning and I love playing and I love practicing and it's fun. It is a lot of fun. And I think that if you really want to get good at something, or if you really just want to do it just for the sake of having fun, then yeah, just do it. Because if
Nike, just do it.
Just do it, Nike. Yeah. Well, honestly, and
I want some sponsorship money for that, Nike. Anyway, continue.
Well, also, I kind of wonder what would happen if my mom had never said anything.
Oh, it's an interesting thought.
I mean, like, if my mom had never said just do it for fun, it's just supposed to be fun. I think if she never would have said that, I'm not sure I would have ever just decided to just pick it up again.
What do you think? In an alternate reality, you didn't pick up the guitar that day. What do you think you would have done with all that time you spent over the years playing guitar? What do you think you would have done with it instead?
Focused it on playing sports and watching sports. Honestly, yeah, that's probably about it. But
so maybe if your mom had not, had you pick up the guitar, you might be a pro athlete right now, right?
Probably not.
In the NFL?
No.
Russell Wilson right here?
Oh God, no! I'm not Russell. Russell's literally got like Jesus on like his shoulder every time he's playing. Like I swear, like that guy's like guided by angels. Dude, yeah,
the guy's a stud. He always does the right thing. It's hard to find a flaw in him. But anyway, let's. I don't want to go too much into sports talk. So,
no.
You were recently in a band, or are still kind of in a band?
Not really anymore. I mean, to just put it out there on the airwaves, I actually had a good talk with Ethan about it, and I told him I just don't really want to be in a band right now. I got enough stuff going on, and I'm not going to overwhelm myself right now. If I had more free time to do it, I probably would be okay with it. But it's like, I don't want to have to go home knowing that there's the pressure of having to do something right now. for the most part, I usually don't mind that. But at this moment, it's like, dude, I kind of just want a break. And he was like, yeah, totally. I totally get it, you know? Because he's felt the same way. He's told me before, he's like, dude, I haven't practiced my bass in like 2 weeks. I haven't felt like playing. And I'm like, that's interesting. But sometimes it'll be longer for him. Sometimes he's like, really, I haven't been practicing at all, like this whole month. And like right now, it's not that I don't want to practice. It's just that I don't want to have a project right now. Like, I'm going to work on my own music, and maybe I'll change my mind in a month or two and be like, you know what, I'm ready to go back into the studio. I'm ready to record. But right now, I don't want to do that. I'd rather just play my music on my own, figure out what I need to figure out with that, you know, learn new things. Every once in a while, maybe I'll go over and hang out with Ethan, and we'll jam and just kind of mess around or whatever. We always do. But, I mean, for the most part, I'm not really attaching myself to anything right now.
You're your own man.
Yeah.
By the way, I just realized I never got my Brave Coyote t-shirt.
You never did.
Yeah.
No, you didn't. I know where they are, so we can get you one. I mean, we can make sure we can make that happen. So.
Good. I expect to get what I paid for. You know?
I'm actually surprised that you didn't say anything about this sooner, because I lived with them when we had those shirts. I could have gotten you one with them.
Well, because I remember I
4 months period.
I didn't want the large, I think, was the problem. Because remember, I was with Colton.
Oh yeah,
Colton
and you didn't want, and you
large.
wanted the medium.
I wanted the medium.
The medium is a better fit. Actually, I might even have one at my house I can just give you.
I need my Brave Coyote. So that was the name of their band most recently, Brave Coyote.
Yeah.
Was most
So,
and you were a tripod in that one as well with
the
you,
power
Ethan,
trio.
and
Tony.
Tony is your drummer.
Tony is the drummer. So we've known I'd known Tony since like we were like 5. So I hadn't seen him in about 15 years, but I knew him from way back in the day at like Sunday school. So
how old are you right now?
I'm 30.
30.
I turned 30 in January.
Oh.
So 3 months ago I turned
3? Oh, baby.
I
Look
know.
at that.
You were at the party.
I
You were
was
there.
at your party, yes.
It was the Make Kyle Drunk Again party.
It was the Make Kyle Drunk Again party.
And I was drunk.
Yes, he was.
It
Yes, he
was pretty bad. I remember saying, like, you told me, like, I kept saying I'm gonna die or I want to die.
I had to go through some. I had to use my mental health training to help Kyle here, helped him because he was.
That made me want to throw my head in a hole.
He was
more.
in the bathroom and he was saying he wanted to die. He wanted to die because he felt so terrible.
It was disgusting.
And so I had to sit there and go, okay, Kyle, we're gonna focus on our breath right now. We're just gonna breathe in.
And every time I did,
breathe out,
I would
and breathe in.
You know, just go a little, Ralph a little bit more. It was so bad. Oh god.
I feel like it got you calm enough to where you could like upchuck a little.
I mean, what was
because
funny?
it's stressful. Throwing up is stressful. I get stressed out if I know I have to throw up.
Dude, that
I start
was
freaking out.
That
it's
was
hard for me.
top 3 one of the worst hangovers I've ever had, for sure. Top 3, like, that was terrible. But I mean, the party was fun. The next day was just not good. But yeah. So
quickly for us, fill in that gap. We have a gap here between like 24 and 30 of your music career. Give us fill in those gaps a little bit. Ethan
came back and then he went into the military. He went back into the military when he went into boot camp the day after his 21st birthday. So he went into boot camp like hungover. Because he called me the day before he went to boot camp. He was like, I'm wasted right now, bro. And I was like, it sounds like it. But he just turned 21. So he went out. I'm like, well, good for you. Tomorrow's going to be the worst day of his life, you know? Gosh. And I'm sure it was, you know? And because I've never asked him about that, but I don't think I should.
I think you should.
Now I will. I mean, it's been long enough.
I'll get him on the pod and we'll ask him on the pod.
I mean, it's been long enough to the point where I could probably ask him. It's been 9 years now. He can. Oh my God! If that doesn't make you feel old, I don't know what will. That was 9 years ago.
Back in my day.
Yeah, back in those days, you know, when I was a youngin' and had no chest hair, you know, like this is what I don't know.
And how old you were? About 21.
I was 20. I turned 21 3 months after him. So, because his birthday's in October, mine's in January. So
while he was gone, were you playing a lot of music still? Were you playing with a band?
I wasn't playing with the band. I was just kind of playing on my own, and I started buying pedals and started experimenting.
You've shown me your pedal collection recently.
Yeah, and I don't want everybody to think like I'm a pedal freak. And what I mean by that is like
he's a pedal freak.
Oh, I'm not. Don't you tell him that. No, I have them, but I use them for specific reasons. Like I don't just use them like there's those guitar players where they're always using effects like all the time. I only use mine for certain instances and certain small parts of songs, but never like the whole song for the most part. There might be a few here or there where I use this pedal a little bit more, this pedal a little bit more. But for the most part, when I practice, I try to keep the tone very, very natural. Where there's not really that many effects. It's just the guitar plugged into the amp, essentially. Because I feel like after a while, you can become so entrenched, because I did this for a while. I get so entrenched with just using the effects that you've kind of lost a creative spark a little bit, because you're focusing on your effects to kind of do the job that your music should be doing.
Oh, wow. That's an interesting thought right there.
So it's kind of the way it kind of came about, because I remember going, why don't any of my songs sound that good? And then I stopped using effects and I started rewriting them, and it was different without the effects. It was like I'm not focused on using the effects. I'm focused on just making the music as a whole good.
Ah, interesting. You get a little too much pedal fever then.
Yeah, right when I got like 2 or 3 of them within like 6 months, and I was having a blast. And then, I mean, like, I really was. Like, one of them, that was the first, like, pedal that I bought. That was probably the nicest pedal I bought. It's one I use the most. This is the delay pedal. And I get really creative with that pedal. But I remember I was practicing a bunch of songs that I had written, and I realized I was using the delay 8 out of the 10 songs. And I was like, I probably want to trim that down to like 3 songs. Probably don't want to use the delay that much, because that's a bit overbearing. And so I did, and it actually, the songs turned out much better. So, but yeah, I did have pedal fever for about like 6 months or so, and then I was like, okay, this is not fun.
So someone sat you down like one day,
like
an intervention? Hey, Kyle, we're a little concerned about the pedals that you're using. And you're like, I'm fine. What are you talking about? Like, I don't have a problem.
I got it under control. I know what I'm doing.
No, Kyle, we're gonna have to take the pedals away. You're like, no! Don't you dare! Don't you dare take those pedals away! I'll kill you! I will kill you!
They're like, we want the old Kyle without the pedals back. I'll be like,
you're like, fine.
Okay. This is the push I needed. Or like whatever, something stupid like that. Yeah, but yeah, during that time period, I just honestly spent from the years like 20 through 26. I really spent most of that time still developing my style and still experimenting with new styles and working on a lot more like finger tapping styles, which was like you're holding a chord and you're using your other hand to hit certain notes in the keys of that chord.
Finger picking?
Yeah, it's just like, but you're using both hands at the same time on the fretboards.
Oh, on the fretboard. God.
So, I'm not crazy insane with that, because there's some guys that are literally like insane. Like they're so good with that. I'm really not that great at finger picking or finger tapping. I'm very, very, very average. And for certain instances I would want to use it, and I use it a lot more when I like write my instrumental music. That's kind of the only time I really use it a lot. So, and it creates, because for some reason with my instrumental music, it creates a distinct characteristic for it. It's kind of, it doesn't feel necessary, but it adds a nice dynamic, essentially. So I use it every once in a while, but I started working on that a little bit more, and then started working on instrumental stuff. And then when Ethan got back out of the military, it was like we were full go on playing music again. It was like, what can we do to play music again? So we just started practicing, and we started practicing all this time, and we, like I said, every once in a while we get together and we just go over stuff and jam and talk about what we've been working on or anything like that, and it's just fun. And that's kind of where we're both kind of at right now. It's like, let's just kind of have fun, and let's not worry about where we're playing next or making money or becoming famous or whatever. Let's just have fun with this right now.
I do want to say, though, I have been to a number of your recent concerts with Brave Coyote, and I have thoroughly enjoyed them. I thought you guys did awesome, and some of your songs I really love. Especially that song where it's like dun 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 dun. Is that something like that? It kind of has like it's like when you said the delay pedal. You have a song that like
is it the
there's sort of
very
a
last
delay.
song we always play?
I think so.
Okay, that would be the one. That's the one where I showed Ethan the part.
Ah.
That's the only part I had, and I was like, I don't know what to put to this, and Ethan helped write pretty much the rest of the music to that, and was like, we got it.
That's a great song. You also recently played a song for me and my brother that I personally, if it was on my Spotify, it would be on one of my playlists, and that was that was what song was that?
That was one that I've been working on. I actually posted a small video of it, but ironically enough, a ton of people liked it but didn't watch the video. I think they all thought it was just a picture, but it was a video. It only got 7 views, and usually my videos will get maybe 80, maybe between 80 and 100. And and here's the thing, like, I don't expect every single one of my followers to watch my videos. Like, I don't. It's not gonna happen. People have the attention span of a goldfish these days, so I'm definitely not expecting everybody to watch my video. Of
course.
But I mean, I'm gonna put it on in the airwaves for the same people that continue to like the videos that I do post. That's kind of more who it's for.
Yeah.
So it's for the same 20-30 people. That's about it. I don't really care about the other people that like it, that don't like it, or don't watch it. But yeah, it's called The Highway Never Hurt Me.
Highway Never Hurt Me. Now, are there any song? Can I as a consumer, is there any way I can access your music via iTunes or Spotify?
Not
or
yet.
CD
no,
or anything?
I've. But that's the kind of the thing. Like right now, I'm not really focused on recording that yet. But I do have set aside a list of songs that I do want to put out on a 4-song demo. So when I do, that is going to be one of them.
Will you be releasing it to Spotify or something
probably,
like that?
Probably Spotify and probably YouTube. I'll probably... Ugh, I totally just like messed up that word. Probably will post it. Yeah, probably anywhere I can. Essentially, just to get it on the airwaves. But yeah, if I can get it on iTunes, that would definitely be ideal. I'd sell it for like 50 cents a pop or something like that. I mean, something really cheaper, even just for free. Maybe that could be the freebie out of the 4. But then again, I mean, like, it's gonna depend on which song is the best out of the 4, because whichever one's the best, that one will be charged for. So if people tell me, like, out of 10 people, if 8 people say, "Oh, this song's the best one," then that one I'll be charging for it.
Understandable.
So, but I mean,
is there a time frame that we can maybe expect that? Because me personally, I'm a little anxious.
I know you are.
I would
know
love
you
to
heard
be
it.
able to, because I really like that song. I was singing it in my head. A couple days
That's
later,
so
I was
funny.
like, "Highway
Well,
never hurt," you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, if
I
it's on
appreciate
Spotify,
that.
if this was on Spotify right now, I'd pop this on and listen to this right now. This is cool.
I really appreciate that. I really do. But I mean, if I did record one first, that would probably be the first one, just because I know I could lay it down in probably a day and it'd be done. So timetable wise, honestly, probably between 3 and 6 months. Right now.
Too long.
I know it's too long, but the thing is you also got to build up the anticipation a little bit. You can't just give everybody what they want right off the bat.
Kyle, I've been waiting 30 years.
You're 28.
For you to put,
you're 20,
a full song
you're
up
28.
on.
You're 28. I'm just
28
keep
years.
saying you're 28.
I've waited 28 years for your. Although then again, I wasn't around.
We
again.
weren't.
I did get one of your CDs. I remember one time I did get one of your CDs, but you got to put them up somewhere where we can, like, on the cloud, somewhere where everybody can access them. CDs, come on.
Or you just keep it to myself.
No, don't share your gifts, my friend. Just like you out there right now, who you want to try, gosh, whatever, singing. I mean, just do it. Who cares if
Just
you're good?
do it. Yeah, honestly, just
odds
do
are
it.
there's, even if you're like okay, there's gonna be someone out there who's like, that sounds cool, I'll listen to that. And so you might get 20 views, but hey, 20 views is 20
and
views.
here's another thing, like, I will say, like, as far as, like, playing music or doing something that you want to do, keep away from the negative people. Even if they're people that are your friends, if they're going to be negative toward whatever you love doing, they're not your friend. Period. Like, all of my friends that I have that have been to my shows or have seen me at my worst and seen me at my best, they've never been the people that I've dreaded seeing because I know they're going to be negative towards me about whatever. Because some people are just negative people. Some people just love doing that, and some people thrive on just putting you down.
Yeah.
Just do
Well,
it.
it's usually like makes them feel a little bit.
Yeah, because they're like, I want to
better.
be on top.
Like
I'm gonna be better than you. I'm gonna find a way to be better than you, and it's like this is totally unnecessary. But yeah, I mean, if it's an instrument you want to play, just buy the damn instrument and learn how to play it.
Yeah.
Just do it. Like, who cares? Like, it's fun. It's supposed to be fun.
Unless it's piano for me, and then in which case I'm giving up
the
already.
thing is you're just not talented. I mean,
Oh!
I mean, what? Did I say that out loud?
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna hurt you so much right now.
No, don't do that. I'm good.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I mean, I would say I know you want that song to come out.
I would love.
I know you want that song to come out
soon.
But I'll tell you what, like, if you are listening to this right now and you follow me on Instagram, go see the demo version of what I came up with. It's on there. I'm playing and singing to it. It's actually the only video I've posted ever of me singing a song. It's the only one. I only usually, for the most part,
I just want to say too as well. Me personally, I'm not a huge instrument. Like I'll rarely ever listen to an instrumental song. It's very rare for me because I love hearing voices so much.
I know.
I love singing with people.
That's
And so
you're
any song that you have, I love your music. A lot of you like instrumental. A lot.
I love
any
instrumental
song
music.
you play that has lyrics, I'm like about it, dude.
I know.
I love it. I'm like,
I
yes.
appreciate that, and I like that about, I love playing instrumental music as much as I like singing. So, but for the most part, I mean, when I'm posting stuff, I'm not really thinking about singing too much. But for some reason that day, I was like, no, I'll post something. I never do, and so I just decided, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. And it's seriously, if you follow me on Instagram and you probably liked it, like you may have liked the video, but you probably didn't watch it because literally it only has 7 views on it. So, like, I swear it only has 7, and I was like, how did I get 30 likes on something that was only seen 7 times? That makes no sense.
You gotta love how people mindlessly scroll.
No, that's the thing.
Tap.
Goldfish attention span, man. So, I mean, honestly, it is what it is. So, that's why, I mean, honestly, when I'm on there watching videos of people that I follow music-wise, I like to listen to their videos. Like, I really like listening to what they're working on or hearing what they're coming up with or whatever, as opposed to just be like, oh, cool, she had a baby. Like, okay, cool, they got a new dog. Like, I'm like, at least take the time to, like, look at these things, I mean, that's what I love doing that. I think to me, it's much more enjoyable than just flipping through and just kind of going whatever about it, and I'm not saying that, like, you can't do that with my stuff. A lot of people have, but, I mean, like, for me, I like paying attention to that kind of stuff. I like seeing that stuff, and I'm sure I feel like you're the same way. I feel like when you want to listen to something, you'll listen to it kind of like all the way through, or at least give it a shot instead of like, just kind of going, oh, whatever, and kind of like passing through.
Yeah, it's so easy your mind just wants to jump to the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's so hard to be like, no, I'm not gonna FOMO. I'm just gonna watch the rest of this video because I may be missing out on something, but that's okay.
Right.
This video has value to me currently.
Yeah. So, but I mean, yeah, it's the only thing. Like I said, and I'm not going to say any more than this. I've said it 5 times. I'll say it 6. It's the only video on my Instagram that I sing on. It's the only one I have ever posted of me singing anything. So, like, if you
could someone find you by just searching Kyle Woods? Would that be?
No.
By the way, you have the perfect artist name.
What?
Kyle Woods.
Oh, my actual name.
Yeah, it's like a perfect.
Oh,
it's like simple. Like it's.
I appreciate that. I'm not focused on that though. If I do end up doing a solo project, I'll have a band. I'll have a new band name though.
Like my name, Tim Giorsa. Like who's gonna want to say Giorsa? I gotta change my last name to like Tim Rock or like Tim.
Oh, I know your middle name.
Manchester.
I can't
say
your middle name on
You can say my middle name. Okay.
Isn't it Gene?
It is Gene.
Gene.
I just call me Gene.
Timmy Gene.
Hey, that's actually not bad.
There you go.
Timmy Gene.
Because Ray Charles was
unique.
Ray Charles was actually Ray Robinson, but there's so many Ray Robinsons they used his middle name, so they called him Ray Charles.
Oh, that's so smart.
Oh,
Timmy
yeah.
Gene. I like that. I'm gonna have to.
Oh, great.
Pull it out. Thanks,
no.
baby.
Oh,
Thanks,
no.
baby. By the way, I gotta plug myself here. If you wanna follow me on Smule, which is this awesome karaoke app I found, you're more than welcome to. We can also sing some duets together as well. So this app is freaking dope because you can record one part and then put it out there, and then anybody can jump on.
That is actually amazing.
And record their segment with you singing. So I've been like, a lot of artists will post like Shawn Mendes or Tori Kelly will post one part of one of their songs, and you can jump in and sing the other part with them. And I'm like loving it. It's so cool to even, you know.
It actually is very cool. I've
very
actually
cool.
seen a couple of Tim's videos. They're pretty sweet. So they're pretty fun. So I would go, if you follow Tim on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, yeah, you need to go watch them. Just go watch them, okay? Take a minute out of your little life and just watch the video. There's nothing.
Don't hate on our viewers, okay?
There's nothing.
If they're listening to the rest of this whole podcast, if they're, you know, into this late into the podcast, then you know they've got good attention span.
Well, which is good because most people don't. But I'm saying, like, take one more minute out of your coronavirus life, which we know that you're probably not doing anything right now, and just go watch Tim's videos. It's worth it. Just watch them.
Oh, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. And I would tell you to go and, well, I guess you can go to Instagram and watch. You can watch The Highway Never Hurt Me. From Colin. And I actually am going to probably do that because I had forgotten that you had posted that song. So I will probably.
A lot of people forgot.
That.
Everybody that liked it forgot I posted that.
I was
song.
probably one of them. But I will go back and I will listen to it now because it is a good song. So
I appreciate that. But I mean, it's like it's a demo cut. Is literally like the first. It was like the first premise of the song was what I recorded. Like this is like kind of like the main idea. But everything now, like from what you heard when I played it for you a few weeks back, it's polished. It's done. Like everything else has been written to it. I just wanted to throw in the little snippet, you know. And
so if it's already polished and done, why is it not being recorded? You know.
So I'm not worried about that right now, Mister. I'm not worried about that right now.
Okay,
and honestly,
well, we can argue a little bit off the air about that.
There's no arguing. I've already made my decision.
Oh my God!
Sir.
Here we go. All right, guys. Well, we're gonna call this podcast good. And Kyle, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
You'd definitely be on more pods.
I talked a lot. I feel like you didn't really say that much.
Well, this was more about you. If it was something
not real, I mean, I know, but it's like your show, and I'm like, I feel like you probably should have said a lot more than you did.
No, because I don't know that much about music, so there's not much I can really.
Well,
I can really give to that equation.
Anything. I mean, what?
So that's why I do interview pods like this, but I also do a lot of solo pods. I don't know if you listen to any of my. I did one on intermittent fasting. I did one on. I did
nutrition,
listen to how to read the labels of food and which ingredients to avoid. So I do actually, and I've done some NFL pods, some NBA pods solo.
Next time we need to do. I feel like next time we'll do the football pod because I pay attention to that stuff.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I'll have a little more to say in that regards as well.
Perfect.
But anyway, thanks for listening thus far. If you please like and subscribe to my channel, and if you would like to be on a pod, please hit me up. I would love to have. You don't have to be. I think every person has a passion, has an interest, has a knowledge base that we can talk about. So, and I'm again, I don't have to be talk. I'm happy to interview you on something that you love to talk about or whatever. So please hit me up if you want to be in a pod. This has been another Topics with Tim. Hopefully we'll have a sweet music intro for the next one. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, I'll start working on it for you. Yes. I'll start working on it.
All right, guys. You guys have a good one. We'll see you next time on Topics with Tim.